Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with John Kay and Rachel Burden.
Hello there. Our headlines this morning. A shot in the arm for the Prime Minister as he urges other people to take up the vaccine.
It was very good, very quick, and you know what I'm going to say, I cannot recommend it too highly.
But Europe braces for a third wave of infections with fresh lockdowns in parts of France and Poland.
Good morning. The Six Nations Grand Slam beckons for Wales if they can win in France tonight, roared on by their captain Adam Wynne-Jones, who's been dubbed Superman by the French.
Reporting for duty.
Who is it?
It's Bond.
Who is it?
James Bond.
007 back on duty as stars join forces to raise money for Red Nose Day.
And it's the spring equinox today, but whilst many of us will be rather cloudy and cool yet again, it's the turn of northeast England to enjoy a bit of spring warmth. I'll have all the details later.
Good morning, it's Saturday the 20th of March. Our top story today, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has received his first dose of the coronavirus vaccine as he urged everyone who's eligible to get the jab.
The rollout has resumed in parts of Europe where new lockdown measures have been reintroduced in France and Poland, as many countries there battle a sharp rise in infections. This report from Simon Jones does contain some flashing images.
Back at the hospital, he credits with saving his life. Boris Johnson gets his first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine at St Thomas's in London. A personal backing after days of debate in the EU about its possible side effects, resulting in Europe's medical regulator saying it is safe.
I literally did not feel a thing, and so it was very good, very quick, and you know what I'm going to say, I cannot recommend it too highly. Everybody, when you do get your notification to go for a jab, please go and get it. It is the best thing for you, best thing for your family and for everybody else.
Around half the UK's adult population has now been given a first dose, but the same can't be said for much of the EU, with a faltering vaccine programme due to delayed deliveries and vaccine scepticism, leading to fears of a third wave. In France, new lockdown restrictions came into force in Paris at midnight, and in Germany, coronavirus cases are rising exponentially, with the Chancellor warning it's likely that the country will need to apply an emergency brake and reimpose lockdown measures. Just 8% of Germany's population has so far received a first dose of vaccine. And there's a warning the UK can't afford to be complacent.
We've had our first wave, we've had our second wave, and there are areas of the country where it's stubbornly staying at a relatively high level. And what will happen later in the year is the infections will come back again. And if we haven't protected our vulnerable population by vaccination at that stage, then we will be back where we were in March, April of last year.
We've got a little card for you to take away with you.
To complement the vaccine programme, the government is funding 2 new clinical trials to try to develop treatments to stop the spread of COVID among the most vulnerable. The message from the Prime Minister is that the scientists will help us get through this. Simon Jones, BBC News.
In Poland, shops, hotels, cultural and sporting facilities are closed across the country for 3 weeks as the country faces its highest new daily rates of COVID cases since November.
Let's go live to Warsaw now. We can speak to our correspondent there, Adam Easton, who joins us on Breakfast. And Adam, a really worrying, serious situation there.
That's right. Yeah, as you were saying, that we've seen new daily cases this week, not seen since November when the second wave peaked. And this third wave is yet to peak. So the expectation is cases will continue to rise next week. And that's why we've had this new partial national lockdown introduced from today, where, as you say, shopping centres, hotels, sporting and cultural facilities such as cinemas, theatres, swimming pools are now closed for 3 weeks. And the health minister here, Adam Niedzielski, has said that if the infection rate continues to accelerate, then he will not hesitate to introduce a full lockdown. And that's because the capabilities, the capacity of the health system here is already being tested to its limits. Almost 3/4 of available beds are occupied, and more patients are on ventilators now than at any time since the start of the pandemic. And an extra 8,000 hospital beds are being readied in temporary and regular hospitals throughout the country to deal with what could be an even worse situation.
Adam Easton, thanks for bringing us up to date on the situation there in Poland.
A police officer who drunkenly assaulted a woman in Warwickshire has avoided prison. PC Oliver Banfield was given a 14-week curfew after he grabbed and manhandled Emma Homer last July. He's been suspended and faces disciplinary action. The investigating force has apologised for delays in the prosecution.
There's still no news this morning about the whereabouts of the BBC journalist Aung Tuya, who was abducted in Myanmar on Friday.
The BBC has asked the military authorities in the country to locate him and confirm he is safe.
He was taken in the capital by unidentified men in plain clothes, and we don't know where he's been taken to. We don't currently know where he is. He was with another journalist from another organisation who was also taken at the same time. And we're really appealing to the authorities in Myanmar to help us locate Aung Thura and confirm to us that he's safe and well.
A volcano has erupted in the southwest of Iceland after the region experienced thousands of small quakes in recent weeks. The eruption, which is around 18 miles from the capital Reykjavik, caused the night sky to glow bright red and led to a temporary suspension of flights at the country's international airports.
What incredible pictures those are. Good grief. Scottish postman turned singer Nathan Evans has reached #1 in the UK charts with his version of a 19th century sea shanty.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Of course, he first found fame on TikTok, didn't he, singing traditional seafaring songs. Then he was offered a record deal and gave up the day job.
Yeah, we spoke to him on this show a few weeks back, didn't we? And a pop remix of Wellerman has reached the top spot. It was originally thought, though, to have been written by New Zealand whalers in the 1830s.
And my toes are already tapping.
Inevitably.
They're going to be going for the next 4 hours.
I just do think there is something, though, about the kind of harmonising of the whole sea shanty thing that is deeply comforting.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And restful.
It's in us. It's inside us.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some of this morning's Saturday morning papers, shall we? The front pages. And let's start with the Times today. Alarm over new wave is their headline. We're just hearing from Adam Easton, weren't we, in Poland. The Times saying that government sources here are really worried about that spike in coronavirus cases happening not just in Poland, right across Europe, and that it could spark a new COVID wave in the UK as well, which could in turn mean that holidays could be increasingly unlikely this summer.
And then we've got several papers, including The Telegraph, carrying this picture of the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, his sleeve rolled up, receiving his first dose of the coronavirus vaccine. The paper also covers accusations by a former UK vaccine czar that European leaders were completely irresponsible in undermining the Oxford-AstraZeneca Covid vaccine.
The Guardian's front page this morning leads with revelations that Saudi royals, Gulf states and billionaires are among those who've claimed millions of pounds in taxpayer-funded furlough money here in the UK.
And a socially aware makeover for the board game Monopoly is one of the stories picked up online. Toy company Hasbro announced it's updating all 16 community chest cards, which currently feature awards for winning a beauty contest or a tax refund. In their place will be more contemporary cards to give rewards for community service and social awareness, which the games maker thinks better reflects the post-pandemic world. But I would argue people, particularly when they play Monopoly, feel fairly wedded to the old traditions of that game.
There's something quite reassuring. It's like your Wellerman, isn't it?
Exactly. There's always the family joke about whoever wins the beauty contest and how unlikely it is. I'd be very sorry to see that go.
I thought you were going to say they were going to be having furlough payments involved and things like that they were going to bring it
right
up.
We don't want reminders of all of this.
No,
we want distractions.
Monopoly escapism.
Did you know the Queen had a puppy?
Well, I think we mentioned that last week, that she was getting Has she got one now?
She's got one. This had passed me by, but she has joined the hundreds, thousands, possibly millions of people who've got a puppy over the last 12 months. Because do you remember when her last pets died, the story was she wasn't going to replace them, she was too heartbroken. But what's curious about this, she got it from, you know, one of the Commonwealth standard pets for sale websites. It's not called that, but it's, you know, the place that a lot of people go to. You'd have thought that she might have a sort of specially sourced breeder, but apparently not. They just looked online.
Let's go to the nearest retail park outside Windsor.
Yes, a little bit like that. And inevitably, it's a cross. So it's not a pure corgi. Every dog is a cross these days. It's a cross between a corgi and a dachshund. that how you say it? And it's called Fergus, or one of them's called Fergus, in honour of her war hero uncle. The other one is called Mick, which is named after one of the monarch's favourite beauty spots. I wonder if she's having the same madness that I am at the moment with
Are you still suffering?
dogs chewing everything. And I would suggest my furniture is slightly less kind of precious than hers.
She's probably got more rugs than you have.
few more.
Story here in the Times this morning. We've got lots of companies at the moment are sort of reinventing flavours. We've talked about a well-known yeasty spread on toast, which has been adapted. Apparently, Kit Kats in Japan, other chocolates are available. There's now a whiskey flavour.
But they have every flavour of Kit Kat in Japan.
Do they?
They always have, yeah. They have
How do you know this stuff,
flavours.
Rachel?
I think people just know that.
The people.
That's blank in your knowledge.
Yeah, well, there we go. Obviously, but Kit Kat
they have
was...
like wasabi flavoured Kit Kats in Japan and things like that, I think.
Really? Well, apparently they're really popular. £2. They can't buy them for love nor yen at the moment, but they're selling out. Whiskey flavoured Kit Kats, blimey.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.